good team win yesterday. Short turnaround, so obviously we're on to Dallas. We got a lot of work to do. Very good football team, top 10 in every category defensively, 6th in scoring, 6th in yards, top in the red zone, top in third down. Got a lot of work to do.
Coach, with the short week taking away the usual allotment of practice reps, how much does that put the onus on the players to be at their sharpest mental to kind of absorb everything that you're giving them?
Sure. Well, I mean, that's the expectation every week. You put together a game plan, you install it. Players work really hard to go out there and to learn it in the classroom and go to a walkthrough and then do it in practice. Obviously, the practice will be a little bit lighter. You have to do a good job of making sure that there's not too much into so the guys can play fast. They're coming off short time frame. Everybody's just got to be doing their job.
I know we talked last week about you being up and Josh being down and all the dynamics that went into it, but what about the trust factor of communication with Ken on the field as well, and how all that communication just has to be seamless and work, and the preparation to do that throughout the week?
Yeah, I mean it's really not that. You're upstairs, you're able to communicate with the quarterback throughout the headset on the phone. Ken and all the coaches do a good job with each respective position. But it's really not much different in terms of communicating.
Brian, this no-huddle approach that seems to have been, maybe this offense is kind of rhythm with it. Did that just form organically, or is it just something that you finally get to that find you stick with it kind of thing?
Yeah, well, I mean, just because you go no huddle doesn't necessarily mean you're going to move the ball. You got to execute, and give credit to the players. They've done a good job of protecting and throwing and completing passes and running. You go no huddle and things don't go quite right. You're 3 and out, your punt. You're 3 and out, your punt. You're losing time of possession. I think each game is different. Obviously we've used that a couple times here the last few weeks. But you got to execute in it to make it work.
Right. Something though is working. I mean, you get 424 yards on the button in back-to-back games, and there seems to be something that fits this team with maybe the word identity is overused, but it's captured something with this group of players.
Yeah, I just think they've done a good job of going out and executing. Give those guys the credit. They got to block and make guys miss and throw and catch and get us in the right protections. And when you execute, things work better. Last couple weeks we've used it. We'll see how it goes.
Brian, how much changed for you when Mitch went out yesterday?
God bless you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Possibly not having him this week.
Yeah, Mitch is a good player for us. That's why you do all those things in training camp. John is a good player for us too, both inside a guard and very flexible to play center. John can step in and make all the calls, and you got a lot of trust in Feliciano. Glad we have him. Glad we have Mitch too. But that's why you go back to OTAs and you go back to training camp. Time on task. You never know. You only get so many linemen to go to a game with, and flexibility is important.
So does that mean that you were able to kind of do what you were planning on doing?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Brian, in regards to the no-huddle, picking up the pace.
Sure.
In the past, you've openly discussed your back and forth with Josh.
Mm-hmm.
And back and forth,
Sure.
exchanging ideas. How much was he a part of the decision to maybe go that route recently?
Yeah, look, we've put in no huddle since day one. We used it when we practiced down at Carolina. We used it a little bit in the preseason. We've used it in other games. We had it in the Jets game in the first game. We've used it throughout. Again, if something that's working, you always want to be better at it. But if it's working and you're moving the ball, then that's one thing. And again, it comes down to execution. Is Josh comfortable with it? Yeah, I think he's comfortable with the entire offense. Just been good for us the last couple weeks.
What's the advantage of it when I think a lot of times people associate no huddle and tempo as the
Sure.
same thing, but what's the advantage when you go no huddle and maybe don't?
Yeah, I think there's a variety. It's a good question. I mean, there's a variety of things you can do when you don't huddle. You can go as fast as you need to go. You can slow it down with the quarterback slowing down to see what he needs to see. You can change tempo within the game without huddling. Sometimes that gives us answers before the test. Whether Josh can see him down on the field, I can see him up in the box. You know, you can go quick, you can go slow. You know, it's been good for us.
And it looked like the Broncos were really trying to eliminate John Brown yesterday. How important then, and we saw this back at training camp, how important was just Cole's presence
Sure.
to be that outlet and to be that guy to pick up the slack?
Yeah, I mean, look, when people do one thing, you have to do another thing. When people are strong in one area defensively, they're weak in another area. And it's our job to try to exploit that the best we can. If there's roll coverage, then there's usually open areas in other spots. If there's 8 or 9 guys down in the box, then you throw it. If they're back, you try to, give yourself the best chance to move the ball. And we have confidence in all our guys. Cole is, I'm glad Cole's here. I know a lot of guys are glad Cole's here. He's a smart player. He's instinctive. He kind of sees the game through the quarterback's eyes as a receiver, and that's not an easy thing to teach. I think that's God-given too. And again, Dawson was ready to go. Croft was ready to go. The backs did a good job, and line did a good job. A lot of things we still need to iron out and keep getting better at, but guys played hard.
The touchdown pass to Cole.
Yeah.
Was that play there? Josh seemed like he kind of moved the safety over his eyes.
Yeah.
Went back to his second read. Devin picked up the blitz. That kind of all that come together, Coach?
Yeah, it was, they did a little, they kind of sunk down on Dawson there, and Dawson was running and kind of a little deeper under route and sunk down on Dawson, and Josh did a really good job of standing in the pocket. There was some heat on him and setting his feet and keeping his eyes, and Cole broke inside, and it was a good route by Cole, and it was good by Josh to stand in the pocket, deliver the ball on time when he was getting hit in tight quarters down there in the red zone.
How have you seen John Brown develop this season? What makes him so dangerous?
John's been pretty consistent since he's been here. He's a good route runner. He understands concepts. He can get open versus man-to-man coverage. He knows when to throttle versus zone. He can make plays on the ball. I have a lot of confidence in him.
Did you have any doubt that was a touchdown yesterday?
No, not when we saw it. No, I mean that was they're sitting in there in Friday's practice. I don't know how many times they threw that. And he's a very instinctive player. We had run from a similar formation, I think 3 times, kind of the same route, and he did a good job of communicating to Chad Hall, and Chad Hall did a good job communicating upstairs with me, and we kind of drew something up there on the sideline off of what John felt out there. And give credit to the guys. We went out there, I'd say the next series, and put a run in there from the same formation, and then gave it the same look, and Josh made a good throw and Smoke made a good catch.
Brian, after you've watched the entire game back and watched film, what your assessment of Cody and how he played, getting all those reps?
Yeah, tough challenge. Definitely had a tough challenge. An elite player. Again, another young player that's improved every week. He's been in and out there with Ty, and this was the first game he could, play the entire game. Did a good job.
What did you lose with Ty?
Well, he's a veteran. He's a good player. He's a veteran. He's a big body, long arm guy that, communicates those guys well. But again, that goes back to Bobby Johnson and Heff and Wendy. Those guys did a great job in OTAs and, preseason games, and they're at St. John Fisher of, moving all those guys around. And there's a lot of questions all the time when you're early on in camp, and where's this guy playing, this guy playing. That's what you're going to need throughout the season. And then, games after Thanksgiving, they only get bigger.
2 more guys.
Have you played in Thanksgiving game before?
Yeah, this will be the 4th one. Yeah. I think 2000. Played at Detroit. Don't quote me on it. 2002, Detroit. 2011, somewhere around there, Dallas, and then this will be another one.
What's the biggest hurdle about getting them ready, not only on a short week, but on the national stage?
It's the next game. I'm sure these guys have all played in games where people are watching. You know, they're professionals. Coaches are professionals. You gotta try to remain consistent in your approach, even though it's a short week. You know, give a lot of credit to the coaches upstairs. They've been at it. You know, we've all been at it. They've been at it. They were at it a little bit last week. You got to try to get ahead when you're on a Thursday night game. No easy task, and again, it comes down to, you know, the preparation and then going out there, players playing well, and, you know, giving them good plays, and you know, collectively doing a good job. But it's a challenge.
How do you balance
Last
the
one.
temptation to kind of, I mean, like you said, you're working overtime a little bit, but you also don't want to be, you know, worked too hard by the time you get to Thursday.
Sure.
Mentally exhausted when you get to the game.
Sure. I mean, that's just the nature. I mean, we're all doing this. You know, you guys are doing it. We're doing it. You know, that's the job. You know, you got to get ready whenever they ask you to play them. That's your job, to get ready to play them, and however long that takes, that's how long it takes.
Thanks, guys.